requested video over YouTube and on Instagram, and also my previous video about this and about getting higher extensions actually gained one of the highest views on our channel, and I just want to talk about it a little more in depth. I feel like I'm gonna explain it a little less better than if you would attend my class, but I'll try to explain it the best I can, summarizing it into a video. And the topic is going to be about loving or appreciating your 90-degree extensions. Kids, or maybe if you're a kid or I don't know, an adult or someone who just wants to improve their extensions, there's so much misconceptions about them online. And I mean, I see a lot of videos like popping up saying how you can get them in 3 weeks and how they're gonna be a lot higher. Sometimes they do work and sometimes they don't, and I just want to explain why. Yeah, not just that. Well, I feel like also a lot of times when you watch these videos that are online and then like, oh my gosh, I got my extensions, I just followed this program and all of that. Some of them are really young kids, and sometimes it is a lot easier to teach younger kids, or maybe they were already flexible in the first place and then eventually got their extensions. I don't know. There's so many things about the body we don't understand. Even myself as a teacher, sometimes this method works for one person and then the other method might take a little longer for the other person. But what's super important to know is that you should work really slow on them, and how if you're not getting them, I promise you a lot of them are not either, and it does take a while. So if you're wondering why this one girl in class, and only one girl in class, there's always going to be one or two who have their legs all the way up there and they're really young and you're not getting them, it's so normal. Yeah, it's not like you're in the academy, let's say, like for example, you know, you see videos of like the Vaganova Academy or these kids who have their legs all the way up there. These kids are pre-selected like this, and if you watch all these videos, they've been taking gymnastics since they were small, and all these things that maybe cause their body to do that, sometimes maybe injuring them. I just want to say you can take your time if you started late or you're just starting out. Okay, so let's just put that out there to make things a little more easy to understand, and also for you to be able to appreciate your own progress. Okay, so progress takes time. Anyway, so before we go in depth into my loving your 90-degree extension video, I did put out a poll on Instagram, I remember, asking if it should be height or only the quality of your extensions. Of course, the answer to that is both. You need both quality and both height. And with good technique and with good quality comes the height. So practicing it properly and getting to know your body a lot more, these are the things that contribute to lifting your legs a lot higher in the way that you want them to go up. Of course, the quality of how you lift your leg is so important. You know, you don't just lift your leg and then it should be okay just because it's high. So it's not just the height, but we work on the two things. And this is really what I wanted to point out in this video, because too often dancers injure themselves because of just wanting to get height and height and height and not realizing how it will affect them deeply later on in the future, not just with their alasicons, but also with their extensions to the back and to the front as well. There's so many ways to look at it. Again, each person is different, but let's talk about the main things, and I'm gonna stand up. So let's talk about learning when to push higher and when not to push higher. So ideally, let's say we're going to love our 90-degree, So ideally, let's say we're gonna love our 90-degree extensions, and let's say I'm beginner and I'm working on just, this is 90. The muscle that you use for this extension is so different from this. Anyway, but learning how to use only this, and this is something I learned in the academy, is working only in this height and in a flex position. And I really love this exercise because it allows you to push from the back of your legs. So this is something that I really like to teach also my younger kids, because it allows them to also feel that muscle extending outward. backwards. And I really want them to feel the under part of your legs. You know how when you start out your extensions and you force them up, or you try to force them up, what starts to hurt is this. It's so common, right? But a lot of times when you kind of try to push out in a flex position, you think about that muscle pushing out here from under, and there's a big difference. You know, you can even work on low heights and you'll feel that. Now this to me is something I really put importance into. I mean, I'm not saying it's like the perfect method to teaching a child how to use their extensions, but working on them also on the floor, where you just developing your legs up and down and flex, gives a lot of awareness to your body, telling it, oh, this is the muscle. So that's the first thing that's so important for me to teach as a teacher, is that awareness of when, again, or what muscle to use, when to push higher and when not to. Of course, when you start to feel that muscle, you can kind of go a bit higher than how you imagine. For example, you're here and then now you feel like, oh, I feel the back of my legs a lot more. Then you feel this real length going out, up and down. Again, your extensions don't come up overnight. They're not just gonna go up the way that you saw me do them, because for sure, if you ask me to go a bit higher, it's going to go a lot higher and a lot higher. I mean, I'm out of shape right now. My legs used to go up a lot higher than that, but that's just my first, I guess, correction for you guys. And then my next one, and my last one actually, is just about your tendencies. You have to know what tendencies you have. I observe this so much in videos that go, get your extensions higher in how many days, and then you'd see like this girl, let's say for example this was her before photo, which was so good. Like, she had a nice extension, she had nice pull up, and she had like okay legs like that were at 90 degrees, and all of a sudden her next photo goes like this, but her hip is up like this, and then her knee is out like that and swayed back. It's not extreme. I've seen like really subtle ones that kind of show like, oh my gosh, it looks nice, but it's like realistically not nice, because you'd see something like this and then you'd see like just a mini like raise of the hip, which already signifies, for me as a teacher, already signifies that, okay, she's already compromising here in her back. She'll feel it a little there. And then let's say some people kind of sit, which you'll feel back in your knees, and you'll also feel into your hip. So knowing those tendencies as a dancer, where you kind of fall over, because for myself, I tend to do a lot of the hip, which is I try to raise my hip to go up a little higher. Now, I'm not saying, because there are videos about this also where they say, should you raise your hip or not raise your hip? I really feel like when you're in school, you should be working on good, clean extensions. Don't try to compromise so much. That comes out in your dancing, you know, like when you're doing your elasticons, it just kind of goes up slightly. That's fine, it's normal. But when you're in school, you want to try to work as square and as clean as you can. It's not to show off, you know that, because your teachers always say, you're not there to show off. And I always say this also, you're there to clean and to really like polish your technique, and also to bring about your dancing at the same time. So that's the best tip I can give you for your extensions. I have some old YouTube videos also about like getting your extensions all the way up there and higher, and how these exercises might eventually help. I really felt like when I was growing up, these things like the turn in and turn out, they help with awareness, and also these exercises like this. But sometimes overdoing them, and I got comments about them, also kind of affect your hip flexor, which I understand plays a big part in your extension and all the other muscles that are involved, like your core and your back. These things all play a part in getting your extensions higher. But it's always a balance of the awareness of your strength and your flexibility. These are the things that are going to help your legs go all the way up where you want them to go up. But I do want you to remember that it's not always about how high your legs are. But again, working on good technique does get your legs high. I have some photos of my kids here if you want to see how their before and afters look like. I mean, I'm proud of how far they've come. I'm pretty sure we worked on them from 90 degrees, and then after 2 years they're now like really high. But that's not to say that they also don't have their tendencies, and they know them. And I always tell them how you really do tend to sink on your hip, or you really do tend to do this, but it's not something that you should be ashamed of, because we're not perfect again. So having these tendencies, they're so normal. We're human. And whatever it is, it's always quite normal to injure yourself if you overdo things. I do have some extreme kids who, when I say, let's work on your extensions, they just overwork everything when I give them the set of exercises. So make sure you balance it out with doing other exercises, not just for your extensions, and working on other things. I think a full class at least 3 or 4 times a week, and you should see a lot of improvement if you warm up, cool down, and you do your exercises properly. So that's my tip for the new year. Since extensions, this is like one of the most asked question. I guess everyone does want really nice extensions and really clean ones, not just on the front side but also on your back. I tend to like to work on the arabesque first, because you do feel like the length when you're working on a flex position, or maybe when you're working on it really low. For the younger kids, I don't know, but they quite enjoy the stretch and also the length from the legs. I hope this gave you some insight on how you can work on your extensions a little better, and don't forget to just love your 90 degrees first. Work your way up slowly and then keep taking class. That's all you need, a good teacher and some good class. I'll see you guys till the next time. I hope you enjoyed this tip and have a good day. Bye everyone. Let us know what else you'd love to hear on this channel.